When Boba Fett remembers the lessons taught to him by his father Jango, some of the words start to concern him. We are honorable men, and honorable men fulfill their duties. This lesson put a damper on Boba Fett's plan to kill Jabba the Hutt. Jabba had just rewarded him well for the capture of Han Solo and paid him in advance to protect him from Han's friends, who were surely going to rescue him, or at least try. Boba accepted the payment, but still had his own plans of taking down the Hutt gangster. This caused a dilemma. How was he supposed to protect Jabba and kill him at the same time? Technically, he could fulfill his duty and protect him from Han's rebel friends, and that was what he was paid for. This is how he made peace with what he was going to do. Today, on Star Wars Fanatic. If you're new to the channel or haven't made the commitment yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give the video a thumbs up to help grow this channel. Jabba decides to throw yet another party. His shindigs were always lavish. Well, as lavish as an underworld gangster could make one. They didn't rate with those of Dryden Voss by any means, as far as being as exquisite. Dryden had a taste for finer things. No, Jabba's parties were more of what you would expect from a backwater thug, someone who was born into a family of crime and had been spoiled his whole life. He was as smart as a criminal boss could be, but his taste was lacking. Women of all races dancing, thugs drinking and passing out, and his slave trader, Bib Fortuna, whispering into Jabba's ear. All the while, Boba could hear Jabba's pet rancor Patissa getting anxious. Her cave was built in such a way that she wasn't audible while locked up, at least not without enhanced audio devices such as Boba Fett's helmet. Her groans were growing agitated, and he could hear her beating on the walls of her cave domicile. In the back of his mind, he wished Jabba and Bib Fortuna would fall into the pit and be eaten. But he knew that couldn't happen. The Rancor had been trained to be fearful for when she even saw Jabba. This great beast of Dathomir would cower at his sight like a womp rat under a Ronto's foot. Bib, on the other hand, was not as safe. Jabba made sure Patissa would get enraged when seeing him, just in case he ever needed to trade up his longtime manservant. But Jabba must have been able to sense his Rancor's unsettled behavior, as he drew his Twi'lek slave closer to him by her chain. Boba Fett knew what was next. And there she went, into the trapdoor. The giant steel door opened, and the poor Twi'lek slave let out a shriek. Then there was silence from below, as all the party cheered. Savage, ruthless, but what could be expected of a spice dealer? As everyone was still excited from the Rancor's feeding frenzy, Boba got a silent notification transmitted from the Slave One. A ship had entered Hutt property. This ship had a scrambler so that its signature couldn't be made out. Boba knew this ship's hardware. This was Bosch. He had been on both the opposing side of Bosch and on different hunts with him. Boba Fett was indifferent to Bosch, but was curious why he was here. Bosch usually worked for the classier side of criminal activity and didn't bother himself with Hutts. Even though the Hutts paid better, it was all about appearance with this bounty hunter. Boba stood silent and didn't alert anyone to the newcomer's presence. He wanted to see what the bounty hunter was up to. So, Boba crept back by a couple of the female band members and waited, just out of the main side of the audience. Then, suddenly a blaster shot and one of Jabba's 2-bit thugs tumbled down the steps to the palace throne room. Boba thought this was odd. Usually Bosch made a quiet entrance to startle his audience. As the bounty hunter descended the staircase, Boba Fett knew right away this was not Bosch. His walk was too feminine, and he had Chewbacca. The first mate to Han Solo had escaped on the Millennium Falcon during the Bespin Uprising. Boba Fett knew this. This imposter was going to make Boba earn the money Jabba had paid him in advance. As Boba watched, Bosch had pulled out a thermal detonator. This made Fett snap to attention and point his rifle directly at the fake bounty hunter. Whomever it was, Boba was impressed. Even though it was all a ruse, he was still impressed at the tenacity. Yet, Boba Fett was not ready to end it. He could have easily killed the bounty hunter and Chewbacca would be free for Jabba to deal with. But he knew this couldn't be the entire plan, and Jabba seemed amused. This works out with Boba's plan. Now Jabba is really distracted. He has Chewbacca, another pet. This could work, but he can't let his guard down now. There is sure to be more. That night, as everyone began to slow down in their drunken activities, Boba told Jabba there was something off about Bosch. He urged him to wait in hiding as the truth reveal itself. And that it did. Boba and Jabba listened as Bosch tiptoed through the palace throne room and to the wall that the frozen Captain Solo hung from. Just as he suspected, an imposter. But not just any imposter, one of the most important members of the Rebel Alliance, Princess Leia Organa herself. This was going to make things a bit more difficult. Boba Fett was always a patient man when his prey was in sight, but he was growing tired of waiting for the opportunity to kill Jabba the Hutt. Another of Jango's lessons came to Boba's mind. Patience, my son. Opportunity will present itself. But what if Boba had missed that opportunity? It was not like him to question his own methods or doubt himself, but this hit was going to be much higher stakes. If done incorrectly, the entire Hutt cartel could come after him, and he would have a bigger price on his head than Han Solo could have ever imagined. Minimal exposure was the name of this job. He needed what was below the surface of Tatooine sands. He needed the entire planet. This could not be accomplished if Boba ended up on the run. Being the most notorious bounty hunter had its perks and its problems. The next day presented more difficulty than the previous. A Jedi had made his way into the throne room. Not just any Jedi, but the Skywalker kid he had been sent to find just a few years earlier by Darth Vader. When Skywalker's trail had led Boba to Ben Kenobi's dwelling beyond the Dune Sea, Skywalker was there. He put up a good fight and escaped. Now, here he was, stronger in the Force than he was just a few years ago. Before Boba could jump in, Jabba had already hit the trapdoor, activation, and sent Skywalker tumbling into the Rancor's pit. Boba had seen Jedi in action. He had seen them defeat beasts in the Geonosian arena and knew this slow, lumbering giant would fall this day. And that she did, with the thud of her own steel door. Luke was quickly taken into custody by Jabba's guards. Boba was not impressed. Something was still wrong. How could it be so easy to hold a Jedi? He knew of stories of the Mandalorian wars involving Force users, and they had to develop special containers that voided the user's Force powers. Yet, here is young Skywalker. Skywalker. He knew that name. A few years earlier, when Darth Vader had him track the young farm boy, he delivered the name to the Sith Lord. He knew at the moment by Darth Vader's reaction that this was the offspring of Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi General he almost killed along with Mace Windu during the Clone Wars. Darth Vader was hunting Jedi, and this was the son of one of the most powerful Jedi. This puzzle would have to be solved later. The real question is, what does this Jedi have up his sleeve? Whatever it was, Boba had to finish what he came here for, and this sidetrack had to end soon. To be continued. Alright, so what are you thinking of my fanfictions so far? I'm really enjoying doing them, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I love interacting with my viewers. It's one of the best things about having this channel. And if you are new to the channel, or just haven't committed yet, go on and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Boba Fett fanfictions and Star Wars content. Also, hit the thumbs up to show your love for the hard work I put into this video, and share the video with a friend. Let's see if we can get Dave Filoni to take notice. Yeah, right. Well, thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.